Hello, this is Neil Buchanan with Rock Our World from good old southern Saskatchewan, the RM, that is the rural municipality of Francis. Interestingly enough, our area was called the School District of 777. I thought that was kind of cool. And our RM number is 127. This is episode 101, so I did get past 100. I realized after I finished the last video that I missed a thought about talking about the Day of Atonement and what seemed to be a strange ceremony of the two goats. I remember sitting through that for 23 years, listening to this strange ceremony, and of course you can read it in Deuteronomy 16, I think right at the beginning, of the chapter, and thinking, what does this mean? And I know it means something. And so as I had said, I started getting some ideas very recently, and one of them I forgot to express. I talked about some of them on the last episode, so I'll finish my thoughts. The two goats look identical. I was making that point and I forgot to finish my thought. They are, by human appearance, you can't tell one from the other, and yet they represent something diametrically opposite to each other. One represents our Savior, Yeshua, who died, and his blood covers our sin, and the other one represents Azazel, the ringleader of the fallen angels. He was the guy, if you read in the book of Enoch, he was the guy that called all the other watchers together, and from that account there's about 200 of them. Let's say that the top guys in the whole assemblage of the watchers, and he proposed something to them. He said, we're all thinking the same thing. We really like lusting after these beautiful human women, and looks like they're kind of having fun with this sex stuff, this sexual intimacy that men have. It looks like a lot of fun. Why don't we do that? Why don't we disobey God, and we'll be in this together? We either stand or fall together. And of course, they fell together. They're fallen angels. So Azazel was the ringleader. So the other goat represents him. Now, why do they look the same to human eyes? I think at least one of the meanings of this is this is all about the last days. Like this, the one goat being taken, the Azazel goat was taken by a fit man, and that's described at the end of Revelation. An angel, a mighty angel, takes Azazel and locks him in a prison. So that's the representation there of taking that goat right at the end of the tribulation. And today we're looking at the beginning. That's my assessment of all things. Yesterday was the 23rd, the big day that lots of people said the world's going to end, and then a whole bunch of others said, well, the church is going to get raptured, and I don't think any of that stuff happened. But one thing did. It was an incredible sign. Even though we didn't get to see it with our naked eyes, we all know what's happening in the sky. It's been widely publicized, but I'm getting off track here. Back to this one goat that's taken, that represents Satan being locked up right at the end of Revelation for 1,000 years by a mighty angel. And that's the fit man that takes the goat into the wilderness. Now the other goat, why does it look the same? Well, this is my thought, that as these 50 years ahead of us is what I've been teaching, whether it's the seven, the way modern Christian church teaches. We'll find out. But as these days unfold, Jesus gave us a warning. Yeshua gave us a warning when he answered the disciples about their question, how and when will this come, these last days. He made this statement. He said that if it were possible, even the elect would be deceived, if it were possible. So what he's saying and what he's warning us is that whatever Satan presents to us, and again, this is a sign yesterday. This is the beginning point. Satan is thrown down to the earth, and he has great wrath. Now, whatever he has planned here will be so deceptive that it'll be hard to tell the good side from the bad side. And I believe that's the meaning of that the two goats by human appearance look the same. And the casting of the lots means it's God chooses which is which. By God's power, by his supernatural ability, he can see clearly which is which. He can see the two that are diametrically opposite from each other. He tells us which is one and which is the other. So, as these 50 years ahead of us unfold, we need divine help to see who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. Remember Jeremy's testimony, the little 10-year-old that talked to the rock and roll dude, Jesus? That was the warning, to choose the right side. So we need to really press in on the Lord through these 50 years. We need divine help, protection, information, and in fact, if we choose to get really good at that, and that's our choice, we will be amongst the first army, the army that you see in Joel, the book of Joel. So I think I got that explained reasonably well. The reason the two goats look the same, and we need divine help to see the difference. That as these days unfold, that devil of our enemy is very, very tricky. And he's going to present some stuff that looks very appealing. And I don't know how exactly that all looks, but we need divine help. So press in on the Lord for that help as these 50 years unfold. So I want to talk a little bit more about the event yesterday, about how the baby, and in this divine celestial metaphor, Jupiter is the baby. Jupiter came into the womb of Virgo 9 months ago. Only God can orchestrate all these things. And Jupiter left the womb of Virgo yesterday. And there's a planetary body, a celestial body, we can call it Nibiru. It appears in the sky, and they've seen this in their telescopes, especially the infrared telescopes, because it's emitting infrared light. It's not shining like the sun, although it's possible the sun will light it up, and it does if it hits it, just like it lights the moon up. Anyway, this Nibiru is a reddish colored star, and it has two wings on it. They're two vapor trails. It looks like a dragon, and it's chasing Jupiter. As Jupiter leaves the womb of Virgo, it's chasing it, tries to swallow it in the metaphor, that is. This is described in Revelation 12. And one thing to keep in mind is that this red dwarf star has 7 bodies going around it. But by most accounts, it is actually 4 planets and there's 3 moons. And it was picked up on a cam 2 days ago in Germany, and what the WSO man, I should learn his name, find out who he is. Anyway, he reported and showed this, that you could see a planetary body and another one going around it. And he said this is very likely the outer planet of Nibiru. Out of the 4 planets, the one furthest out, and it obviously has a moon going around it. That's what was seen in Germany. Now we're going to start seeing more of this stuff as the days unfold ahead of us. As this thing gets closer, and according to David Mead, we'll see it for sure during the Feast of Tabernacles. I think he picked October 11th, did he not? And the Feast of Tabernacles is from the 7th to the 14th. And keep in mind too, the Day of Atonement, to fast that day, that's October 2nd, that there's a chance, and I've been predicting this, that something very dramatic, maybe even the explosion of Yellowstone will happen that day, a judgment coming on the United States and Canada. And anyway, back to the metaphor. So the baby Jupiter left the womb yesterday. The dragon Nibiru is chasing it. The symbology is that Satan, the devil, wants to destroy and there's lots of metaphors going on here. One of them is that the baby actually is Yeshua, and the dragon wants to destroy him. But he did not do that, and he will not do that. But the other metaphor that's being used here is that is the end of the birth pangs. Now the tribulation has started. This is the real thing. The birth pangs are over. The baby's arrived. The tribulation has begun. The dragon is thrown down to the earth with great wrath because he knows his time is short. So we're going to see an escalation in evil. We're going to see an escalation in whatever the plan Satan has, the coming of the aliens. There's all kinds of ideas thrown out there, and I've talked a lot about all of these. And then the next step in Revelation is that the woman now this has changed from Virgo up in the sky. The metaphor is the woman is now the church, is protected. So that is good news to believers, and make sure that you're a believer in the way that you're following God, not the corrupt systems of the churches and the synagogues, where they're following the teachings of men rather than the teachings of the Lord that you find in the scriptures, right from Genesis to Revelation. And I've been talking for 1.5 years about that. So go back in my episodes, see what it really means to be following God and His Torah. So those group of people who are the woman, that's the church. They're the ones who have soft hearts, who want to learn. You don't have to know everything, but you have to have a heart that wants to learn. And if you are caught in the system of men right now and you're starting to realize you're believing lies, you allow your heart to be changed right now. Just go before the Lord right now. Give your heart to the Lord. If you haven't before, or if you did, do it again and say, Lord, I need my heart changed. I need my heart softened. I need to be able to embrace the things that you told us to do in your Torah. And starting right from Genesis all the way to Revelation, yes, the Torah is legitimate. Genesis is real. We're supposed to be doing what God says, not what men say. And press on the Lord to help you change your heart. And then you will be counted amongst those who is this woman. And then as you read on in Revelation, you find that the earth helps the woman, protects her, so she has divine protection. And I'm going to say that's the 144,000 for the duration of the 50 years. So join me in my striving to be amongst the ranks of that 144,000. And then the dragon pursues the rest of her children. Now that's the second army. Those are the ones that, in a sense, were left behind. Borrowing a phrase from, I think it was Tim LaHaye, developed this idea, and he was quite a ways off past that one phrase, but they too have an important role to fill during the 50 years. So, and I suspect you could move from the second army to the first one, and it's your choice, it's not the choice of the Lord. it's our choice to press in and do these things and change ourselves and embrace truth rather than the error of men. So I think I got all the metaphors described in this great celestial presentation we had yesterday. That is what I would call was the greatest sign of them all. And like the WSO guy says, it's a sign. It's not a rock falling on us as we speak, but it is a big sign. When we say yesterday was the beginning of the tribulation, it was the end of the birth pangs of the Messiah. In other words, it went from bad to worse as far as the troubles on this earth go. Satan has arrived. He's taken a third of his angels with him. Those are the fallen angels. And then all the demons that they created, these fallen angels created millions and millions and millions of demons, and all of them are working together to destroy us, to destroy God's plan. And they're not going to succeed, but in these next 50 years, pick the right side, like little Jeremy reported. I see that testimony many, many times on YouTube. So look it up and listen to it. The message from Yeshua, our rock and roll dude. It was cute how he described that. So, have I covered all the things I want to in this next last episode before we go to Israel? I feel that at least one of my jobs when I'm there is to go down to the city of David and pray for the beginning of the building of the temple. And it's possible it's already started, in which case I'll pray for its completion. And this would be the right timing in what I've been teaching and believing. And obviously I can be wrong on lots of points. This would be the time that the two witnesses begin their work. And they come in the spirit of Elijah, and their greatest message is to turn back to the Lord and his ways found in the Torah. So this is Neil Buchanan with Rock Our World. Read Daniel 12 to see how the rock, the final act, when we stand with our warrior commander, he strikes Babylon, this conglomeration of 10 nations, on the feet and destroys the evil army, and he destroys Babylon, and he destroys this, what I've been saying is the New World Order and the United Nations, this effort by men to create a one world government with a one world religion. And that is the diametric opposite of what God's bringing, the kingdom to this earth. Signing out, Rock Our World.